everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Fashion Grunge Podcast. I'm your host, Lauren.
And I'm Jai.
What's up? We are talking about The Crow today, the film from 1994 with Brandon Lee. I love this movie so much.
Me too.
I just can't even put into words. We both, Jai watched it. What did you watch it yesterday?
Yes.
Cool. I watched it this morning, and then I watched this behind the scenes thing on YouTube that I'm definitely going to link because it's only 15 minutes, but it's really good. They have another one that I think that's an hour. That's a little bit more into the movie if you want to know about it. But I'm sure you've seen it, and most people out there by now. I mean, it's been out for quite a while.
Yeah, it's kind of a cult classic.
Yeah, it's definitely a cult. Yeah, I feel like if you know it, you know? But yeah, man, I'm so excited. Okay, so besides that, what have you been watching lately, Jai?
Well,
outside before we talk about The Crow.
Well, but I think you just want me to say it.
I kind of do want you to say it.
I knew it. Okay, well, I'm watching Boardwalk Empire, and it's actually it is funny because Matthew taught me years ago to watch it. So obviously he's American and he's seen it and he loves the show. And I didn't really, I knew that it was a huge investment, in terms of time, because it's
six
seasons and stuff, right? And I kind of forgot about it. And then you mentioned it and I just started watching it. And then I told Matthew about it and he was like, I'm really excited that we're watching this because I love this show. However, it's actually funny that I've been telling you for years to watch it and you didn't. But as soon as Lauren tells you, you do it. And I'm like, oh, I know.
Well, that means you have two people now that are telling you. If one person tells you to watch it, but then if you're like, wait, okay, someone else is telling me,
I know,
should probably watch
it. Honestly, was just a coincidence. It's not I deliberately just started watching it because you told me.
No, because I mentioned it several times.
You did.
And only now. Yeah, only now have you started to watch it. Yeah, it's not I'm do it right now. You're like, okay. And then you just watch it that night.
I feel like it's just an accumulation of several things that he's mentioned before, and then I don't do them until you tell me, and so he's like, oh great, Lauren told you, so now you're doing it. I'm like, okay.
That's so funny.
It is an amazing show.
It is
so blown away by everything, the story, the set design, the acting, the cast, everything.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great show.
Such an epic show. Every episode feels like a film. And
the production is way heavy on that show. I mean, their budget was movie budgets, for one episode. It's crazy.
Yeah,
you can tell.
It's amazing. So thanks.
Next up, I'm trying to get Jai to watch 6 Feet Under. It's another show that's literally one of the best pieces of television. Nothing has ever come close to that show. I mean, as beautifully written and how timely it is, it ends perfectly, begins perfectly. It's like Breaking Bad. There's no bad episode, and they knew how to contain a show.
Which I love.
Which is great when you go knowing in that this is gonna end so amazing, and there's no other way it could have possibly ended. It's not like a Sopranos or a Lost where the show just goes on and it's great, but the end was just what?
Terrible.
Just this is what you gave us after we've been here for 5 years, or it's hard to end a show.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I'm so excited that you're watching it. I hope that you watch 6 Feet Under, obviously not right now, but in the future. It's a great show.
I hope so. The thing is, I feel like things are slightly going back to normal, and for example, in the UK, everyone is going back to work.
Yeah, they've opened things
and
up,
back to school and everything. So I don't think I'm going to be, at home for much longer. I don't think. I don't know.
Yeah, we have no idea. So it's so different over here. So I mean, who knows? We're living in worst case scenario, but
we are.
It's kind of crazy. But yeah, I'm trying to think of what I've been watching that's been I haven't been watching anything crazy. I was watching True Detective season 1 again.
Oh yeah, you mentioned
because I just fucking love that show, and I just watch it if I want something to watch, it's 8 episodes. I can put it on in the background when I'm writing or doing something, but I love that show. So I have to watch the last one again, but God, that show's just so good. I mean, I love Woody Harrelson and I love Matthew McConaughey. So So I was like, oh, this is so good.
But
But that's it. I've been watching the
another
movie.
show
Yeah.
you mentioned. You told
What?
me to watch something else, but
I told you to watch 6 Feet Under. What else did I tell you to watch? Do you know what it's called, or are you trying to get me to say it? I don't know what it is.
I honestly can't remember. It was like,
Oh shit!
you recently texted me saying you should watch this. Maybe it's something that Jules recommended.
I don't know. Oh, it's the documentary called Disclosure on Netflix.
That's it.
Yes, yeah, the documentary. Oh my gosh, it's so great. It's about trans representation in film, like from the beginning of film to now. It's amazing. It is amazing. Oh my god, that's my computer. I forgot to turn this off.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to watch that.
Yeah, Disclosure. It's great. I think it's like an hour and a half. It is so great. Yeah, Jules told me to watch it. So it's really good. I think it just came on there. Pose, I need to start season 2 of Pose. I saw that is up.
I love that show. Yeah.
I love that show. I'm like prepared to be emotional because that show is incredibly emotional too. But it's great. It's such a great show. So I'm really excited about that. Awesome. Let's get into The Crow.
Cool.
Okay, so came out in 1994, directed by Alex Proyas. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. What are your first thoughts of the film, and like when did you first see it?
I was living with my dad at the time, and I watched it with him on like VHS. You know, like back then you used to be able to get the films like as soon as they came out in the theaters. I guess they were like. Yeah, you could.
Like the bootleg ones, you mean?
Like, yes, exactly.
Like on the street. Yeah, where people film them in the theater.
We totally got that one like that.
Oh, no way.
Yeah,
oh, that's awesome.
Because there were so many movies I just couldn't go to the cinema to watch because I was too young, you know? And my dad just loved watching films with me. So it was a good way of getting like films in VHS like right away.
Oh, yeah. I've bought some of those, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess I was... I don't know, was I 11?
Yeah, when the movie came out, yeah, we were 11.
Right, yeah. I mean, I honestly remember really clearly, like, feeling that it was just like a much cooler and alternative superhero film. Like, it didn't feel like mainstream like Batman, you know?
No.
It was just like, I don't know, I guess also, like, it felt really grunge to me. And obviously the soundtrack is a huge part of it, but...
Oh, God, that fucking sound.
I know. But the fact that even the main character, like Eric, was in a band, and he was like a rock band, you know, and the costumes and everything, I guess the association was grunge. But my dad also told me, I mean, I didn't know that, when we finished watching it, he told me that Eric... played by Brandon Lee, died while filming it. And
he told you after?
He told me after. I had no idea. Yeah, he told me as soon as we finished watching it. And I don't know, it made it sort of feel like spooky and like special in a weird way at the same time.
Yeah.
You know? And I guess maybe that's why I kind of never stopped thinking about the film. Like I often think about it, even obviously most recently because there was a documentary on Bruce Lee.
Yeah, which I'm gonna watch later today. Which
is amazing. Yeah, and obviously like that, it just makes you think about his son, you know, and like just how tragic it was, and like it just tragedy runs in the family, I suppose.
I know.
So yeah, I'm just really excited we get to talk about this in this episode. What about you?
Oh, awesome. Okay, well, I don't have like a vivid memory like you do of seeing it like for the first time. I know I rented it, so I saw it maybe like the year or two after it was out. So it was maybe like 90, like I guess what, 5 or maybe 96, like 12 or 13. And I don't know, I mean, not to be like really like cliche or like weird about it, but this film was one of the ones that changed my entire world. Like, because up until that point, I was really like, I mean, I really liked Clueless when that came out. I was like really into like, I'm trying to think of like what music I was into. I was into like I knew Nirvana, so I was into Nirvana, but in a very like surface type way. I still listen to a lot of like R&B. I listen to TLC a lot. I listened to like some rap and stuff like that. But I had like kind of a well-rounded, and I listened to like random like classic rock and stuff because of the Dazed and Confused soundtrack, which I really liked. And I liked that film. So this was the first film that like was really dark. I think that I'd ever seen as like a pretty young person. And this film really changed how I felt about music, because this film and this soundtrack played such a huge like part of my life, because that's when I got into like metal and industrial because of this film, because I'd never heard anything like, I don't think I'd heard Nine Inch Nails and stuff on the radio and stuff like that, and I knew Marilyn Manson, but after this I like was more goth. Like I got into like very like dark films, like reading a lot of Stephen King. My mom was like kind of worried about me because I was into like all this really dark stuff.
Oh yeah.
And she like didn't know where it came from. I had a huge poster of Eric Draven in the film sitting in this old chair, and it was right above my bed. And my mom was like, I don't know how you can sleep in this room with this like weird, the guy like dressed like, you know, Brandon Lee dressed like the Crow, like in this poster above your bed. Like I was like eerily obsessed with this film, that she was like kind of worried about me. And I was just like, I just loved it. I mean, I loved the soundtrack. I watched it all the time. I got it on tape, you know, I've had it on DVD for years. So yeah, like this movie really changed everything about like how I could see films, and like how they weren't just, you know, horror films. You know, it wasn't a gothic film that was like people were killed and like the way they are in Scream. You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
it's not like that kind of slasher thing. So yeah. Yeah. I mean, I really love this film a lot, so I'm really excited. I don't know if I knew that Brandon Lee died like while filming it. I knew that he died, but I don't think I knew until maybe like after I watched it and I started like asking about it and like finding the information out. But that's cool that your dad told you.
Yeah,
Told you
yeah.
that,
I feel
like knew, yeah.
yeah, you know, it's weird because I definitely, I mean, he is into rock and everything, but he did like a lot of the music that was in the
Mm-hmm.
soundtrack, and like I was already into like grunge and like um not metal, but I mean I definitely remember liking what is that band called? Oh, Pantera, and like
Oh my god.
and what is the
Dude,
other one?
Phil
Is it called
Anselmo's a
it's something
nut.
like Metallica or something?
Megadeth?
What?
Megadeth? Is
No.
it
Oh, oh
Megadeth?
my God.
Metallica?
Metallica, that's it. Yeah.
Slayer? Sepultura?
No, no.
Uh,
Well, yes, I did like a couple of Sepultura songs, but I genuinely was into like, you know, that stuff at the time.
oh,
And
okay.
I remember I used to wear like Doc Martens boots and like just all black and everything. So it kind of came in at that time, you know. And there wasn't anything like it. It was just
Oh wow.
it was
Yeah,
just
it
like
is really cool.
superhero, like I don't know, like they just felt different. This film just felt different, really, to a superhero film.
It's really cool. Yeah, and it's based on a graphic novel,
Yeah,
which is really cool that it's told in this kind of like almost a storyboardish kind of way. Like the way the locations are and the way they move, it feels very, very much like frames of a comic book.
yeah, and like there is so much to talk about in production
I
because
know.
obviously, I mean, we'll get to that, but yeah, it is crazy. I feel like we're gonna be talking about that for quite a while.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you have any behind the scenes? I have some behind the scenes. There's an immense amount of notes. So, as most people know, he was, you know, accidentally killed on the set of this film, which is insane. I mean, just to
Is
think about, like, you know, like it's not that he died while filming it, like at home. You know, it's like he died like while filming this,
yeah.
like, which is just even more.
I mean, I feel like I never actually thought there was some conspiracy theory, to be honest. It didn't feel like there was. It
No.
just felt like an insane accident. And when you actually think about it and find out a lot of things about production, you know, it wasn't just like there were a lot of accidents and it was a coincidence. It was like the fact that they rushed the production of the film probably was the reason. Like what caused so many accidents, because apparently there were loads.
Yeah, I think because they didn't have a lot of budget and they just kind of, I think, had to move through it, right?
They said they had to rush filming incredibly, and so I feel like one of the reasons why he died was because the dummy bullets that they used were had been fabricated by taking out the gunpowder from the real bullet.
Yeah.
But because of the time pressure, they basically didn't do that. So they basically were supposed to replace, I guess, the gunpowder, something along those lines. And it's insane to think that due to, I mean, I can't even imagine like the person responsible for the props and everything, like the guild that he has,
I mean, I know. I think that what happened was they had a firearms specialist that is on. Hey, what's up? We got cut off before, but we were talking about the production and behind the scenes of The Crow. And I was reading that what happened was the scene that we're in question is when he's actually killed in the story, which is insane. So the guy who's playing Fun Boy, who is, his name is Michael Mass, and he is like, that's how he dies in the show or in the movie. He holds his arms out and then like he gets shot in the back by this like Smith & Wesson, I think it's a 38. And the bullets what happens is they had a firearms specialist that's always usually there. They sent that person home that day. And the person that was left was a person who wasn't in charge of firearms, but was like a prop assistant. So that's the person that loaded either the incorrect bullets or like they didn't, like what you were saying, like they didn't take out the gunpowder and like a blank they couldn't use because nothing comes out and they needed like something to come out, something like that. And that actually was like fatal to Brandon Lee, which is crazy.
It is. And like I think in fairly, not recently, but like 2005, Michael Mass like spoke about the accident for the first time, and he said like it wasn't supposed to happen. I wasn't even supposed to be handling the gun until we started shooting the scene, and the director changed it at the last second. So he wasn't even supposed to do that.
Oh my gosh.
And like apparently which is kind of, I mean, it's kind of like insane. Like he donated most of the money that he earned, in this movie.
Oh, like in the film.
Yeah, like I think he bought his mom a house or something. I can't really remember. And the rest he donated because he felt that it was, he didn't want to.
Yeah, like profit off of this.
Exactly. Because like apparently he became quite close friends with Brandon Lee. And so, yeah, he didn't want anything to do with, the money and stuff.
Yeah, it's so crazy. It's crazy that it was just an accident, and it literally is just like this fatal thing. Like this reminds, anytime I hear of like these young actors, like it just reminds me of like River Phoenix, and it reminds me about like Heath Ledger, like all these people that were just like, they had these like crazy accidents happen. Like all of them, like they were all just like accidental, and it's just like, and then Anton Yelchin, who's like that incredible actor that died in that car accident, total accident in California, right? I think, yeah, with like a Jeep, like and by himself, like a total fluke accident thing, and it's like, gosh, just like to think like, there's things like that happen. And it definitely made, I just, in my notes, I just have like, it makes for such an ominous film when you know that he died doing this. And the whole thing is about death and coming back and having this like metaphysical, supernatural relationship with like the real world and like this other world that he lives in. And we're kind of like looking at it through like this afterlife lens because he's not here. So, exactly. And it's so crazy. Have you seen the interviews that he's done from the set?
No, I haven't.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna send you this behind the scenes thing because it's on. I think it's on one of the tapes or something that I had too. Because I remember seeing it when I was young, and it's like Brandon Lee talking about the film in this incredible way, like how he plays Eric Draven, like these ins and outs of his character, like so much more in depth than like I feel a lot of actors go, and just the way he talks about him and the way he talks about death and the way he talks and all this, and he's coming from this perspective, like even almost like he knows he's not going to be there, but in this really weird way, because in the end of this documentary, he has this quote from this author, and it's all about the limits of actual life. And he talks about, like, I love this quote, and he, like, reads his quote out, and, like, I was literally, like, tearing up. It was insane. He was talking about, like, how you never know how many sunsets you're ever going to see again. And, like, you all think it's this, like, endless bank because you think, like, you have eternal time. And, like, how long are you going to see, like, a sunset? How long are you going to see a full moon? Like, it might only be 20 times, but, like, you think it can be infinity. And, like, he's just talking about all this, and, like, that's how it ends. I was like, good Lord, this is crazy. Like, this is like so weird that it's like he knows. There are a few other films I think like that too. A lot of James Dean films are like that too. They're like really eerie with. Have you seen Rebel Without a Cause?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, like it's very like it just feels very eerie. Like the subject matter that they're doing, along knowing that like they have such a short time, and like this one even that he died on the set, really, which is just crazy. But I'm glad that they released it though, because they could have easily just
they could have
said
exactly.
no.
I mean, I only just like imagine how hard it must have been for the cast and like the production team to continue shooting, because like they still had like 3 days after the accident, right? So I mean, how can you even be in the right frame of mind to continue shooting the film?
But it's like, I think that they were all, the way they all talk about it is this was all such a like incredible, like no other experience, which is what I think a few other films that we've talked about, same with My Own Private Idaho, we just talked about, like it was such an incredible experience that like they had to finish this. Like this was something that everyone wanted out there. It wasn't something that was like very tragic or like some, I mean, it's a tragic accident, but like they felt like this is supposed to happen and this has to come out. Like people need to see this. Because you imagine if we never saw this, and the last film that he did was like, he did a lot of like action films, like action martial arts kind of films. Here's one called Rapid Fire that I've seen. And but yeah, nothing like this. Like this is not like what we had ever seen from him. So if this never came out, thank God it did. Yeah, I feel like they all have this special connection too with the film. I think the way all the actors talk about it too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
really, really cool. It was filmed in Wilmington, North Carolina, which is kind of cool. It's again, and like a soundstage and stuff in Wilmington, which is where they did like Dawson's Creek. They have a huge like filming situation in North Carolina, like down there, like they have like studios and stuff, which is kind of cool. And the most amazing thing that I learned about this film pretty recently was that the double that was used for Brandon Lee after he died is Chad Stahelski. And he is the fucking creator of John motherfucking Wick, which I love.
What?
And
wow.
And the director. And it's so insane that he was the double, so he's also teaching Keanu a lot of what he knows. And also there's so many similarities between John Wick and The Crow. It's very much like revenge redemption story. And this like but just in a different world, and yeah, it's fucking badass. I think that's so cool that guy is now doing John Wick and like directing and doing super dope stuff. So it's really cool.
Cool.
Yeah. Have you seen all the John Wicks?
I have actually. I recently watched the last one.
Yeah, the third one.
The third one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember. I watched it on on a flight. Yeah.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I really liked it. And then Paramount dropped this film after the accident because they thought that it shouldn't come out and that it would be too violent and like it was just too much, and they kind of were like, look, we don't want to give you any more money to finish this, like we're kind of out. And Miramax is what picked it up and gave them $8 million and let them finish it.
Yeah, and it's insane like how successful the film became. And it was like, what was the budget? It was,
I think 23
and they
million.
made was it
like
50,
50 something?
51 in the US, right? And it was
Yeah.
also, I can't really remember, but it was like, because I don't know worldwide how much it made, but even just in the US alone made so much money.
Yeah. Was it big in Mexico?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I was really young, so I don't
Yeah.
really remember it, but yeah, no idea. I could have asked my dad actually. Forgot.
Yeah, he might be like, "Oh yeah, I remember."
Yeah.
Um, it's super crazy. They have Jeff Imada is the stunt coordinator for this film, and it's like, I mean, because just even the action sequences are just so well done and just so like it. This is kind of a film that's like a next level kind of action thriller. I would think, because it's just like, it's not this dumb like explosions and like crazy car chases and like,
Yeah.
there are elements of that in it, but it's so much more like hand to hand. And like, God, I mean, Brandon Lee's like an artist anyway, so when you have someone like that who's acting so incredibly and you could add those action sequences, like that's also why John Wick is so great. Because like he also worked with Chad Stahelski, also worked with Keanu Reeves on The Matrix. So like Keanu has now managed to like merge his like martial arts and acting at the same time. So that's why he's like such a fucking dope actor. And they don't have to get like a stunt person to come in and do it. Like he can, do a lot of close up stuff. He's just so legit.
Yeah. I mean, I also love the fact that he's not. I mean, his only power is that he can't die. Or I mean, he's come back from the death, right? So I love that it's not like Batman or the superhero films where they have all these things, like this crazy car and like they are able to fly. I mean, he literally doesn't. He just like runs. You see him constantly running.
Yeah, he probably doesn't get tired,
and sort of being really athletic, but it's never something crazy. Like even when he jumps off a window, he lands on like a rubbish.
He doesn't land bin, on like the pavement.
Exactly, it's not like he's flying or anything, which I kind of like. I mean, there's like an element of realism there,
Yeah,
it's
it's cool.
Yeah, he's just really fit.
He's like super hot as well. Like, well, that doesn't hurt.
He's beautiful. He is like honest. He was like so beautiful, and like his body was just insane.
I know. Yeah, it's not fair. It's just like really not fair. It's not fair that he has like the most amazing genes ever. Like he's like the son of a legend.
I know.
Like, how could? And I think he was like a child when he died, right? Wasn't he like 9 or?
He was quite young. Yeah. He must have been. He couldn't be older than 11, I would think.
Yeah, okay. So, like, he started training pretty young, but, like, he ended up training with, like, one of Bruce Lee's, like high-level students. So, like, that's, like, who he trained with. But it's just so crazy that you just see him, like, doing all these, like, crazy cool stunts and, like, jumping and, like, flipping and, like, like, doing all these things that, like, back then actors just had stunt people. They just did all that shit, but, he's, like, doing... And, like, he did a lot of gun work. Like, gun work and sword work, like, which is really hard to do, I would think, too. But...
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But, yeah, it's really cool. I have some notes on, like, just the optical effects. The director, when filming it and shooting it, took out all the greens and blues and made a very monochromatic palette and only introduced red, because red is like the color of the enemy. So when you see the enemies coming up, it's always like this red, or like a red sky. It's always like anger. Like that's the other color to the monochromatic. And like Brandon Lee talks about in this documentary how he would have loved it if they could film the whole thing in black and white. But because the studios like wouldn't allow them to, he's like, we had to have this like, toned down color palette and then introduce the red. He's like, but, I would have loved to have shot it in black and white, and then everything in Eric's living life would have been shot in color to show the contrast. He's like, I really would have wanted that. And I was like, God, this man is like, I can't even. Like, I can't even. It's watching this little, even watching him talk, it's just incredible. You're like, who is this person? Like, he's like, it's just so crazy. It's really crazy.
I know, he was like really wise beyond his years.
Yeah.
Like, it's insane. Yeah, he was like some kind of like ethereal creature almost.
Yeah. Same with River Phoenix. His interviews are the same way. You're just like, who is this person? Like, where did he come from? Like,
I wonder whether maybe deep down they both knew that they were going to die like early.
I don't know. everyone, like Jimi Hendrix, like, you know, all these people, when you watch them speak, like, you know, and they died so
That's
young.
slightly different now because they all were like.
Well, yeah, that one's a little different because
kind
it
of
wasn't like an accident.
It was kind of like they did have that mentality of like live fast, die
Well, yeah,
young,
that's true. Yeah, I
you know?
don't think Brandon Lee. I mean, obviously, he didn't
No.
plan for this to happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Um,
And it
Yeah, I
wasn't like
have-
drugs, you know, it wasn't some like crazy thing where like he would never, you know, it seems like he never would have been like a drug
Yeah, I
overdose.
don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so. But you know, no, it's kind of nuts. So yeah, the color palette was kind of crazy. I thought that was cool, and like the optical
Yeah, it
effects
was.
that they used, and like the fact that it was always raining, and like the steam
Yeah.
kind of takes away from the color, like he was talking about it. Yeah, and like I love how it's red. Like I love that that's the color that's like, because red's always angry, and you always think of red as being like anger. I think.
Yeah, no, it's
like,
really
passion,
cool
you
the
know,
way
like-
they shot it. Yeah.
Mhm. That's pretty cool. Do you have any other more notes about behind the scenes?
I mean, they're not sort of behind the scenes, but they're kind of about the like special effects and stuff.
Oh yeah. Let's talk about it.
They actually use ravens, not crows,
Mm-hmm.
because crows sleep during the night. Yeah, that's right. And so they couldn't. It was just like easier to train ravens, basically,
Oh,
and it was actually
wow.
quite difficult because obviously there's so much rain throughout
Yeah.
the film. And also, you know that scene where at the end where the crow attacks
Oh yeah.
is it
Myra?
Micah? Yeah. Well, so they actually built a mechanical bird to do the attacking, and it had like separate controls for the wings and another for the claws. It's
Oh
insane.
wow.
And they also like build a mechanical hand. You know that the scene where Lee's sort of he gets caught and then he looks at his hands and they sort of heal themselves.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they basically built a pair of hands that were exactly just like his, basically,
Oh,
for that
wow.
scene. There were a lot of like special effects and stuff in the film, obviously, to recreate some of the scenes at the end, because obviously he wasn't around.
Yeah. And they also looked really good too. Like for it to
Yeah.
be like early 90s, the CGI was like
Exactly.
really well used.
I know. And also what's interesting is like you watch the film and you can't really tell when it's not it's not him anymore.
No. I
You
think he
can't
did a
really
lot of it
tell.
though, right? Isn't it just the part in the apartment that's not him?
Apparently, yeah, because they shot everything else, but the
Yeah.
very early scene where, well, not early, but I suppose when he gets killed at the beginning,
Yeah, like when they
obviously that
burst
was,
in, right?
yeah, that was what they had to recreate with the stunts and like
Yeah.
special effects and using some other footage of him, you know,
Yeah.
from previous scenes. But yeah, you can't really tell, you know.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, I just have that really. I mean, apparently, actually, we have one more.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the writer of the comic book, he thought that creative team had gone too far with their changes, and
Mhm.
so he created like a 10-page outline explaining like the characters' motivations and everything, so that to get them
Wow.
back on track. But then they got that other writer involved. The writer who did Texas Chainsaw Massacre and like
Oh yeah,
Critters?
yeah.
Yeah, they got him on board to do a rewrite, and then he told basically everyone that Eric's character should be a gothic rock and roll Terminator,
Whoa.
and so kind of like I can see that, you know.
He kind of is like a Terminator.
He is, yeah.
He's so dope though. He like plays guitar. He like has this
He's
like
like the ultimate of cool, like
yeah, he is. The makeup's cool. It's like kind of like before the Joker.
yeah.
Before Joaquin's Joker.
Yeah. Also, oh, sorry. Talking about makeup, they mentioned somewhere that the makeup was so challenging to do, and
He
they
sweats a
basically
lot.
couldn't.
Like comes
Well,
off, right?
exactly. Basically,
Yeah.
that it will come off really easily, and so they had like the hardest time trying to get it right. And they, after many attempts, they decided that that messy look, sort of like worn up, was best, and so um they basically worked really hard on that. But it's crazy because it seems kind of like very minimal makeup, but
Yeah, it does.
but yeah, it was quite hard to get it right. And at the end, they just went for that sort of messy, like, kind of, yeah, like.
It's almost like
Not
didn't Heath
perfect.
Ledger do that in the Joker? Didn't he do his own makeup?
He did. Yeah, he did that.
It reminds me very much like he was probably reminded of like this. This seems very much like he could do it. You know, like he could do it himself. Like it wasn't anything like pristine, like a perfect Joker face. Yeah, or like kind of what his looks like a Joker card. Like his makeup is like with the eyes, like the things on the eyes, like the tears that come down in the top, like they go both ways. It kind of looks like it a little bit, but it's really cool. It's very like 90s, like the black
So
lipstick.
90s, yeah.
When he's putting it on and when he like makes it, I was like, oh yeah, this is totally like all the shit that I had. Like I had all that stuff. It's like so crazy. Do you have any plot points or like story notes? Like how do you feel about the way he emerged and like Sarah? I love Sarah. She's my favorite.
I know. You mean the little girl?
The little girl, yeah.
Yeah, you know, she's really cool, but I mean, nothing to do with her sort of acting, but her undercut that she has.
Oh, I love. Oh, right.
I love that. It's just
so cool.
Like, cool. She's like really young and like she's like, you know,
She clearly has no parents because she is like friends with this dope rock star and his girlfriend.
Yeah,
so like
she sort of looks after.
She kind of has like like I think when I was a kid, I was like, damn, that'd be so cool to have like this cool older friend, and like they're like in a band, and like you get to hang out with them and they take care of you because your mom is like, you know, non-existent essentially.
Yeah, no, I don't really have any notes on that. I mean, I feel like I really just love the whole story. I feel like. Totally makes sense.
It's such a great story. My only note was like such a tight story, revenge aspect of validation. That's all I wrote.
Exactly. Yeah, that's spot on. Yeah, he obviously has a reason to come back and kill everyone who, you know, sort of kill him and Sarah, not Sarah, but his fiance. What was her name?
Shelley Webster.
Oh, Shelley. That's right. Shelley.
Yeah, Shelley. Yeah. I want to know what you think about the fashion.
Well, yeah. So much to talk about. Okay. You know, I feel like fashion and the whole mood was pretty much like grunge and metal influence. Mm-hmm. Literally, like most of the characters, I feel like the guy who played Fun Boy wore outfits inspired by Iggy Pop.
Cool.
Yeah, and some others were directly taken from the comic. I love what Mika, I don't know.
Oh yeah, Bai Ling.
Yeah, Bai Ling wears. Like it's sort of like slightly Victorian and romantic, and like she wears this incredible like corset in one of the scenes, and like they were really hot at the time because they were. They were. It was like 94. I guess they shot in 93. But you know, like Thierry Mugler and like Galliano and Vivienne Westwood, they all had like corsets in their collections like, in the early 90s. And so like, I don't know, it was kind of like really cool and avant-garde. Everything that she wore, it was just like really beautiful. Like that red headpiece that she wears.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I love her, like her makeup and hair, like it's just really fucking cool. And you see a lot of like patent leather and like latex and like even vinyl, I suppose, or like PVS, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Even Eric wears some, you know.
Yeah.
And,
he has the pants. They're so hot. Those black vinyl pants were so hot.
Yes, like, and then he has these, which actually came back last year. They were around last year.
They're so hot, though.
Yeah.
Like, they're so...
You have to have, like, killer legs to pull
I was
them
gonna
off.
say, you have to be, like, perfect looking to, like...
Like, I tried them on, and I'm like, my huge thighs, you know, like, they don't really
I could never wear them. Yeah, they're not for me, but I like how they look.
Yeah, of course.
They look cool.
And I love that sort of... What's his name? Let me remember. It was like Tintin actually, who was played by Lawrence Mason. he had this really cool fetish outfit sort of thing. Like, it's kind of like a chest harness with metal grommets. Like,
Wait, who?
you know the guy who gets killed first? He was like the black
Oh,
guy
Tintin.
who... Tintin, yeah.
Yeah. His
Everything that he
holster.
wears, he
Yeah.
had like this amazing like long trench, like leather trench, and then he wears this like sort of
Like a
chest
vest or
harness, and
something?
like
He has like a
he's
harness
wearing
and,
all
like, a
this like
vest.
really cool like sort of like metal outfit,
Yeah,
you
that's
know.
pretty cool.
And what else? I don't know.
I like Sarah's outfit. Her outfit's my favorite.
Oh really? Oh no, like I didn't even think of her outfit.
Yeah, because when I was a kid, I like wanted to look like Sarah. I was like, she skates. She has Doc Martens. She has these fishnets that have like huge gaping holes in them, and she has like a hoodie, a shirt, and like a zip up. That was like and like a skirt, which is really cool.
I think it's the hoodie that doesn't really make it for me. Like it kind of like
but it rains. And she's skating in the rain. That's why.
I guess.
It's utility, Jai.
I am not a huge fan of hoodies. Matthew can tell you that.
Oh, I love hoodies.
Yeah. No. But I mean, even like, obviously Eric wears incredible outfits. They're like simple, but like all black and stuff. But
yeah, his are dope. And the combat boots.
The combat boots, and also, he is the type of man that can pull off wearing your top, like his girlfriend's top.
Oh yeah, I know, because it totally was like a
It totally was. It was like so small on him, you know. It was like super like tight, and like the sleeves were really short, like 3/4, and it was just, like,
and then he has like black electrical tape in between his hands.
Yeah,
that looks kind of like a glove, but it's like all like the end of the shirt, almost like they taped the shirt down, and then they're like, it's really weird.
I think they did. I think it was sort of like black tape, like wrapped around his torso, you know? Like,
yeah, and it might have been for fighting stuff. You know, it could have been like that tape that you use, but like they just made it black when he was like doing all these stunts.
Oh, yeah. True.
Yeah, like I don't know. It might have been like some utility, like reason.
Yeah. I definitely kind of got Edward Scissorhands vibes in there.
Yeah.
Like, you know?
We won't addendum to like interject. We will not talk or discuss about the many sequels and remakes and bullshit shit they tried to do after this.
I refuse to watch them.
Yeah, I refuse to watch anything else. Jason Momoa was supposed to do The Last Crow, and I was like, no. Why? Why are we doing this? The soundtrack to the second one is dope, though. Holes on that. But I listened to the soundtrack, but I didn't watch the movie.
Oh, okay.
Kirsten Dunst is in one, too. I think she's in the third one. I was like, what?
Yeah, no, I'm not interested. Like,
no,
it's
but if
kind
people
of like
are wondering why we're not talking about it, that's why.
Yeah, it's sort of an insult to this first one. Like, have some respect.
But could you imagine if Brandon Lee would have lived? This would have been like a John Wick series.
Totally.
This probably would have been like a dope series. I can see like happening somehow. But yeah, oh my god. So yeah, those are your fashion. I really like Top Dollar's fashion. He's like the bad guy with the really long hair. I love his voice so much.
I knew you would say that.
I love his voice so much. I love the outfit that he wears in the end where it's like a 3-piece suit, but he has no tie, but the white shirt's like buttoned all the way up. Yeah. He's kind of short though. But he looks really short next to the other guy. I forgot the other guy, the guy who's in Candyman. He has the top hat, like the bowler hat, and like the pinstripe. Oh, yeah. He's like his assassin. I like his outfit a lot. I like the really super like Courtney Love-esque era of Darlene, Sarah's mom. I was like, this is Courtney Love, like 1992. Like she looks a mess, and she looks super grungy. Like she's wearing a lot of like lingerie. Kind of looks like it. I don't like it, but I just think it looks cool, like for how she is. I think it like really fits her character.
Suits her, yeah.
Yeah. Really. And I like all the bad guys. I like how they're all dressed. Like I like how they just have their own like kind of weird style. Yeah, I mean, it's all really cool. I mean, everything you said about Eric, like his is the best. I love Shelley. How you always see Shelley in like this really flowy outfits, like his girlfriend that was killed.
Yeah, she's really beautiful.
And like the flashbacks and stuff. Like I love all their flashback scenes and how they're all like kind of red. Yeah, it just looks so cool. And I just love it's all like visual style. It's like just got this whole gothic like visual style like throughout the whole thing. And also I love a film with a fucking club scene where you get to see bands play.
Yeah.
Like I love when movies actually have full bands and it's a real band and you actually get to hear them. Like I love that. Also Jesus and Mary Chain. I mean we could talk about this fucking soundtrack forever, but like My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult, who I got into after this, they're the ones that sing that song After the Flesh, they're in it. And also the band Medicine, which is really cool. They're the ones that sing that song Time Baby. That's playing. I think it's the first band that's playing. But I love those kind of like when you see like a dirty, dingy club, and I was like, this is so cool. I wish this place existed.
I know. Well, they did exist, I think.
Well, yeah, no, they did. I mean, like now, like
yeah, we're now. Yeah,
it would have been really cool.
Yeah, I love in a way that's like you can't really recreate that. You know, it just wouldn't be the same because it'll be like people will be taking photos of the place like non-stop, and it's just I'm really glad like we didn't have like Instagram and you know all of that when this was happening, like this whole like 90s rave scene, you know.
You just get the film.
Like, can you imagine like look taking pictures in a warehouse of that? It just wouldn't be the same.
No.
It's kind of like it's best to be just in your memory, you know, of like what it was.
That's how I feel about a lot of things. I used to take some photos at concerts, but then a lot of times I was just like, no. Like after a while, I was like, no, because like I want to just like live in this moment, you know. Like even if I had a film camera, I still would be like, no, because like I just want to like remember the show, and like you just never get to experience it when you're just too busy looking through your phone.
Yeah, well, it's different with a film camera, you know, because you're just taking snaps.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you can't really see.
But you can't be in the mosh pit though. You know, you got to be like up in front. You know, you can't enjoy the music as much if you're gonna like worry about taking your camera out. I think
that's true.
It's always kind of hard unless you're like on tour. Fine, that's your job. You're gonna see them every night. But if you're like a fan, I kind of want to be like jumping in the crowd with everybody else and not worry about like getting this photo. Although back in the day, like it just wasn't a big deal. Like, what would you do with that photo? You know, it's like now there's like all these fucking Instagram, like you want to post this amazing photo of like this lead singer that you got, you know, so people like scream and freak out about it. So
I know. I hate that so much.
I know. It's like there was nowhere to post it, so you wouldn't take it. Like for what reason? No, you know, exactly. It's like, so you don't even need the picture. Just and now it's like you need to prove you were there. like it's Yeah, now it just seems like proof you were there. Like that's all. It's kind of crazy. Okay, let's talk about the music. Let's talk about the fucking soundtrack.
Cool.
The soundtrack is so good.
It's really cool.
Oh, what's your favorite song on this soundtrack?
Honestly, my favorite is gotta be the cover of Dead Souls. It's like the Joy Division. Yeah, Joy Division. They covered it, and I just love that song. And I love The Cure as well.
Yeah, that's my favorite. Is Burn.
Yeah, those two are my favorite. I mean, I like everything, but those two are definitely like sort of stand out for me.
I love Medicine. The song Medicine. It's like that one that's like sometimes it rains.
Oh yeah. No, that's cool.
That song's really good. That's actually a really great band. Medicine.
I don't know them actually.
Yeah, go listen to. I'll send you one of their albums. It's really cool. I think it also has one of the vocals of the Cocteau Twins. I think her name's like Elizabeth Fraser. I think her name is that. Yeah, it's really fucking good. Like it's this soundtrack alone. Like Rage Against the Machine has like a fucking B-side on there. Like Stone Temple Pilots fucking.
Oh my god, sorry, I forgot that. That's
like,
amazing.
It's just like oh god, it's just so good. Like this is what got me into like this music was like fucking Rollins Band had a cover on there. Ghost Rider is like an old Suicide song, like from the documentary we watched a long time ago.
That's right.
Like it's great. It's so great. And Pantera's on this too. And Helmet.
Yeah, I can't believe I like Pantera. It's kind of crazy.
I know, yeah, Pantera. Do you know, like, I'm one of the things that I love more than anything to do is when I'm really bored, I downloaded it, I put on the behind the music of Pantera, and like, I don't even know about Pantera. I know a few songs about them, but I don't know that much. But I'm obsessed with their story and like Dimebag Darrell and like fucking Phil Anselmo and how like crazy he is. Like he's a nut, and it's just like it's just such a great behind the music to see. It really
it's just really weird to think that I kind of like that. I think I had like the biggest crush on my neighbor when I was like really young, and he used to be into metal, and like,
Oh, no way.
and so I guess I got into it because of him. But I mean, I was like 10 and he was like 14, you know?
Oh, wow.
I liked him for like 2 years, and then I eventually, like, obviously, anyway, when I was much older, we kind of hooked up, and I was like, oh, I don't like you. I was like, I don't understand why I was so like in love with you, but you're actually not all that anymore. Yeah, it happened later. It's crazy. I actually met up with him like recently. It's
Really?
Yeah, like I mean, obviously he's married. He lives in the US and everything. But
Oh,
it's
no
just really weird
way.
when you think about like crushes. You know,
Yeah, it's
you
so
always like
funny.
kind of fantasize about like the older guy who's like into like
Yeah.
I mean, he's cool and whatever. But yeah. Anyway,
That's so crazy.
yeah, he got me into that, and someone actually dragged me to a Panteras concert in
Really?
Mexico. I know. It was like we didn't get there at the very beginning. We only were there for like the last hour, maybe 45 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Um
How were they? What year was this?
this is okay, I was 15 or 14. I was 14 actually. I was 14.
Wow. So wait, what year is that?
I
Was Phil
know.
Anselmo in the
It's
band?
really
Was he
wild.
always in the band? What if I guess he was, yeah. That's so crazy. Yeah, I like know nothing about Pantera. I just like their behind the music story. Just
Yeah, no,
nuts.
that's cool.
This is really nuts. That's so funny. But yeah, the soundtrack's amazing. I'm definitely gonna put it in the post because I mean, yeah, the soundtrack's just amazing. Yeah, let's get to favorite scenes because I don't know, we're probably almost at an hour.
Yeah, I know.
What are your favorite
Cool.
scenes?
Okay, so let's do one each, right? Like I
Yeah,
have three,
I
so
have
I
three.
guess
Yeah.
yeah. The first one is when he's just sort of come back and like he's in his old apartment and he's
Mm-hmm.
sort of like doing his makeup
Yeah, this is also my
and
first one.
yeah.
So we're
But then
combined.
it's that whole sequence from then, and then he's like running and
Mm-hmm.
jumping from rooftop to rooftop
Yeah.
to
Playing the Nine
kind
Inch
of
Nails song.
yeah, and then he's basically going to kill Tintin, isn't it? The first
Mm-hmm.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So everything that happens from when he's like changing, then running, um, from rooftop to rooftop, and then he lands. He sort of like it looks as if he was going to fly, but he actually just jumps up
Mm-hmm.
and like lands in like a huge rubbish bin, and then he laughs, and he has like a really sinister laugh.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, when he
He's
like
like,
first like yeah
yeah.
comes back. Yeah,
Yeah, so I love that. I love
it's
everything
very
from.
jokery.
It is totally, yeah, totally. It really reminded me of the last one, actually.
Yeah, it totally does. That
Yeah,
was
so
also mine.
that's my first one. Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's also mine. What's your
Well, go
and
go to your second one then.
okay, my second one is just like the whole shooting at the club, like at the very end. That whole
Yeah,
sequence where it's just like this insane shootout and like martial arts. I just love it. Like I love that. He has like the two guns. He's just like killing everyone. He's trying to get
yeah,
Skank. Like
yeah.
Skank's the last one. It's just that whole sequence. There's not much more than like it's just a really amazing sequence.
Well,
Like
that's
from
that's also one of mine.
yeah. I was like, it's so good. Like, it's just too good. Like, how could that, like the
It
song,
is.
it's like My Life with a Thrill Kill Cult, which is like so dope. They're such an insane ass band. So yeah, I saw them at 9:30 Club too.
Oh wow, that's really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in like the late 90s, like must have been like 98, something like that.
Yeah, I love how dramatic it is when they all start shooting him and they're like
Hmm.
assuming that he's dead, and then he's like, oh, they're like, oh, he's not, he's gone, and then
Then they're
all the
like,
action.
what? Yeah, then he's gone, and then he just like pops up and just starts like
Yeah, no, that's
running
not,
around on
yeah,
people. It's pretty
exactly.
crazy. Cool. That was yours too? Okay, well, my last one is just every scene with Sarah and Eric. I just love Sarah and Eric's relationship. So I guess it's just like, I love when he like gives her the ring and he's like, yeah, I think she like wants you to have this. And she like still goes and like sees their grave and everything. I just love their relationship a lot.
Yeah,
It's really
no,
cool.
that's really cool. Yeah, I mean, I guess.
What's your last one? Or do you have another
Well,
one?
I do. I really like when he kills T-Bird. he gets
in the car.
He follows. Yeah, he's in the car, and then he puts all these sort of explosives or whatever, and it's sort of like, I suppose, a little bit like Batman in the sense that he creates this like crow in like fire.
Yeah.
You know,
that was pretty cool.
But it's kind of cool. But yeah, I agree. I like the ones with Sarah. When he saves her, and like then he says like, doesn't always rain, or what does he say?
It can't rain all the time.
It can rain all the time. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, the whole film is just amazing.
Yeah, it's great. It's just such a great film. I really hope it's sometimes on Netflix or like some other random channel.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it has been in the past. So I hope that people have seen it, or if they haven't, then like you should just rent it. I mean, it's pretty cheap. Yeah. Like, it's worth it.
I feel like I didn't. Maybe I just haven't heard anyone talking about it, but it does feel like kind of not many people remember the film. Yeah. I don't feel like I ever hear anyone talking about it, you know? Or like,
it has like a small base, but like a very dedicated base, I think, which is cool. But yeah, it's not like a typical, like, the last like crazy film or post that I put up was about Scream. It's definitely not like Scream. It's definitely not like a blockbuster that like almost everyone knows and like, you know, seen on TV tons of times. It's like, it's very underground. I think probably maybe because of his death. I think it just isn't like, it's such a weird subject matter too, like just to cover in a film. So I think it's just not like, a lot of people I think just don't get it. I don't think they would get it, which is fine. You know, I get it. I love it.
Yeah, so. I feel like definitely people who are our age and like a bit older who actually were around at the time, you know, they probably are the only way. I can't imagine anyone that young, like Jules or that generation, to really know much about the film.
Yeah, unless they have an older sibling. That's the only way I could think. Is they have like an older sibling or something. But yeah, man, this was so fun.
Yeah, I'm so glad we did it. We talked about it a long time ago, and it's fine.
I know, we finally did it. So this is another episode for you. Rate and subscribe, whatever the fuck. I don't know.
Oh, you forgot to mention that.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in the notes so people will see it. But yeah, this was super fun, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.